All right, we got Kyle, we got Ceruti here on the show. Life advice. The email is lifeadvicerr@gmail.com. Don't be afraid to mix them up. And I'll tell you, with some of the ones that Kyle's been sending, if it's really, really long, it better be fucking Cormac McCarthy type stuff. Because when I open them up and I'm like, I'm thinking about the audience. Not that we don't want to help, but just efficiency is key here. And I know I'm long-winded, but I don't know, my podcast, I guess. So it's just something to help, because some people keep sending in these ones that are so long, and you're like, it's just, imagine if you're in the car listening to somebody else's email being read. I just want to help everybody. So there you go, little off the top there. All right, let's try a couple. I like when we can do some that are a little different here. The Spain travelogue follow-up. I hope this isn't the Friday feedback, because the positive reviews from that always blow my mind. But then I had one guy like really light me up. He was just pissed. He's like, "Why did you have to work out?" I'm like, "Well, fuck, it's my fucking vacation." Like, what? Let
me live.
Yeah, I went to the museum that you wouldn't have gone to. Okay, has anyone ever done that? It was.
Send an email about it. That's for sure.
No, the guy was really, really upset. Like, he just was like, "Pod sucked. Your trip sucked." I'm like, okay.
Cool.
You thought my trip sucked that you didn't go on.
Thanks for listening to all
3
hours.
Right. No, he told me he couldn't take it. I was like, great. Cool. Noted. All right, here we go. 29, 6'2", 200 pounds, former D3 baseball player, a middle-class Nick Collison. Go Sonics. I love the Russillo travel recaps, but his latest one to Spain hit close to home. Next year, I have a very good friend's wedding in Greece and plan to hit Spain for a week after. Myself, much like Russillo, one-man wolf pack, and I do most of my travels solo. One thing that made me a little apprehensive about visiting Spain is that my usual destinations are the ability to get into awesome restaurants to eat as a solo diner. I don't consider myself a foodie. Who really does? I don't know, foodies. But when traveling, I love to indulge and learn about the local cuisines and also splurge once in a while on awesome meals. Russillo's recap on not only the judgment, but the lines, or at times the inability to get sat at places alone in Spain, has me rethinking my trip. I wouldn't go that far. My lack of patience for that is probably lower than most, because I was just like, whatever, I'll just go somewhere else. Like, if you really care about the food destination, like, again, the place I ate in Mallorca, that's still one of the best restaurants I've ever eaten at. It was, I went in and was like, hey, if there's a bar area, you're going to get seated. It may take a little while. And if you can, like, who gives a fuck about the eye rolling? Like, I get it every single time. I just don't care. So a couple questions. One, can I still enjoy the amazing upper tier food and restaurants Spain has to offer as a solo traveler? I don't care about being judged in a country halfway around the world. I'll deal with it. Secondly, as someone who's traveled a lot and mostly solo, are there any destinations in Europe you'd actually recommend as a solo traveler? Love the pod. I'd say one of the best solo traveling things that I've done is any of the Caribbean stuff, because that's a very different. Now, granted, you're going to be in Greece, so you're not going to go back to the Caribbean and the whole thing. The Amalfi thing was very similar to Spain. The south of France, if you can hit smaller villages and not the bigger cities, I don't know if you can find that. Iceland was not, like, Iceland was perfect for me on the solo trip because I was going on an adventure trying to drive around the entire island, but it wasn't friendly. Like, I would say it's not that Icelanders were unfriendly. It's just they weren't interested in what you had to say. They didn't care, other than that girl that I met that moved there from Sacramento for health insurance. She was pretty friendly. So I don't listen to my pod and let it get in your head. All right. It's just an observation. The entire pod is just random observations as the guy's just traveling through the whole thing. If I was determined to eat at the best restaurant solo, it was probably going to happen, but I didn't want to wait. I wasn't going to do reservations ahead of time because I never really knew which day I would be leaving a place and which day I'd be getting there. So almost everybody should be a little bit better of a planner than I am, because I still don't even know how to pack. I think I packed like 1 T-shirt and 4 workout shirts for this trip. So my point is this: don't let what I said psych you out, and be a little forceful about it. Just be like, hey, I want to eat here. and they're going to give you the look. They're going to say it's just you. They're going to be weird. I had a couple places in the beach area. The beach area was just so busy that they didn't want to give up the table to me, and I didn't really blame them for that. So if you think you're going to get a solo table, that could be just a restaurant call, and sometimes it's just going to say no. But most of the nicer places still had some kind of bar seating area, and it may take a little bit longer and wait for a couple to move off from that. I went to another place in Mallorca where they were like, oh, but the bar was totally empty. And they were kind of like, you would just want to sit here and eat. And I was like, if it's okay and you don't have a hassle doing any food service, and I'm not going to be a pain in the ass, I'm not going to be sending food back, I'm not going to be asking for extra sides and all this different stuff. If you're okay with that as a bartender, which again, everybody's going to be okay. Yeah. So don't let that psych you out. But I wouldn't tell you there was this one magical destination that I went to on a popular place in Europe. I'm also going at the busiest times of the year, which is the only time I can go. That late July, August stretch is the worst time to go to these places, but it's the only time I can really go. And if you're going to be going in the non-peak season, where the rest of Europe is there as well, you might be way better off. I never have an issue with any of the restaurants not wanting to seat me. I only have an issue when they act like I'm a leper. But I don't say anything to them. Like, I do have friends. People actually get, here's a picture of me. Do you know Scott Van Pelt? So I don't let what I said psych you out. But Caribbean, even Hawaii, it's something about the islands. It's something about the tropical thing. It's something about the locals just generally being in a better mood than everybody beyond a certain, I guess, I don't know if I'd say longitude or latitude. Yeah. Yeah. I guess in a weird way, yeah, as a sailor. Well, I shouldn't say that. Powerboat guy, I shouldn't say that about sailors.
So you'll still have trouble packing, huh? After all these trips, college? Because I packed like 2 shirts and 10 pairs of underwear, but I don't know. I just get like you're still not a good ratio. Because I'm a carry-on guy now. I won't check it if I can absolutely avoid it. So
I'm always a check guy because usually I'm gone for so long and I have to bring some stuff with me. But this trip in particular, I was like, I'm just doing carry-on. I'm not going to be there that long. And then I just completely screwed up all my ratios. So I'm also getting really bad at packing because I just don't want to. I used to pack like the night before checklist. Yeah. So I shouldn't say I don't know how to. I'm in a really bad rut right now. I'm like 1 for my last 21 at the plate.
Yeah. Never run out of underwear though. I pack like I'm going to blow through 2 a day somehow.
Oh, I'm a big 2 a day guy, just in case.
Yeah.
Anything,
like
I mean,
socks. Eat before you get on a plane. It's like, but what if I do shit myself like, what if we're stuck in the air for 8 hours and I didn't eat? So that's my underwear.
I just meant it like
make sure you have some. Mixing
it up, and you have a sweaty day. You're not screwing up your rations.
Yes. Because I think one time in Vegas I had to put on the underwear from my first day to go home, and I was like, this is terrible. This is fucking terrible. Everyone knows. Nobody do.
My packing sucks because I'm a big, and people are probably going to think this is weird, I'm a big white tee under T-shirts guy. I just don't.
Under like T-shirts? Double T-shirts?
Yeah, like I'm wearing a white tee under this right now. Just because, like, I don't know. Like, you sweat. I don't want to, like, ruin T-shirts. And I just kind of like the way they feel. So I always kind of have to pack more. So the white T-shirt thing, if I'm gone for like a week, I'm like bringing double the shirts, which kind of blows.
What are you, Earl Kelly? What you're going T-shirt under a T-shirt?
T-shirt,
yeah. I got like the like the Hanes, like the white.
I get it.
I'm just a T-shirt on. Yeah. I think they make my tees last longer. They don't get as gross. I just like, and I like the feel of it. So
have you considered like antiperspirants?
Oh, I have that. Too. I'm not even a big. I'm not even like a big sweater. Like a
natural. Oh, okay.
I'm not.
Because that's for like fat guys, dude. Fat guys are supposed to do that.
I know. I've just always done it. I've just
keep
always
a towel
done it.
over your shoulder too.
I think it's because I'm we talked about this at the live show, if we'll ever hear the light of day. Like I'm kind of a skinnier guy too. I'm not saying I'm in shape, but I'm kind of a skinnier guy. So it gives me it makes me look a little bit more like, I don't know.
Hey, I used to do it too, but in a different way. Like the first summer I thought I was going to get a bar back job, and they're like, we'll just put you on the door. And a couple of my buddies are like, you kidding? Like, what are you going to do? This is like going into my junior year of college. And my other buddy stopped by, and he was kind of laughing, like, it wasn't like anybody respected me in a brawl. And I was wearing like a sweater and then a long sleeve tee and a T-shirt underneath that. And the first thing he did, he
Bulking
walked
up a
in
little
because he bartended there, and he walked in. He was a couple years older than me, and he like grabbed at my shirt and was like, "How many shirts do you have on right now?"
It's embarrassing.
As if it weren't already humiliating enough,
Yeah.
like knowing, like if something happens here between two adults, I have no chance, none, zero. So it worked out. It was
Nice.
safe. Yeah, it wasn't like I was. Oak Bluffs
Two-shirt
wasn't.
Steve.
Yeah. Hey, yeah.
would say
So two-shirt Steve.
Yeah, T-shirt Steve. I would say to the emailer too. I don't know. Watch Forgetting Sarah Marshall, I guess, because that like kind of started off weird, but then it got good at the end. He met Mila Kunis, so I don't know. Could be some inspiration. It was also in Hawaii.
Yeah, that's also fake. I mean, nobody's had a better time while selling us that he's bummed out than Jason Segel in that storyline. And I love that movie, but he gets dumped and all he does is hook up nonstop. And then
Hard
he
to believe.
meets like an absolute dream scenario in Mila and has like an unbelievable time in Hawaii by himself. I mean, other than his love of his life, having loud sex next door to him the entire time. But
It's probably tough. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's guys that have had worse breakups is my point.
Yeah.
I don't think that's obtainable. I don't think his breakup deal is obtainable. Okay. All right. This one's actually pretty specific and a problem. Black eye while meeting coworkers. Hey, fellas, 25-year-old male, 6'5", 235 pounds, ex-college football player comp Mike Gesicki, but slower and whiter. Okay, that's white.
Mike Gesicki's pretty
Wow.
white. Yeah.
That's
Is he
white.
Nordic?
Who knows? Who knows? From northern Greenland. Not really a wordsmith, so I'll try to make this quick. Got my dream job a couple weeks ago. I could really see myself with this company for the rest of my professional career. This job is fully remote, so I've only met a few coworkers in person to play pickup basketball. I have a lunch scheduled this week to meet the rest of the team in person. The problem is I completely fucked up my face this weekend. I was out drinking with the boys, and I tend to go a little overboard, as a lot of men in their 20s do. We were walking home from the bar and walked past my old apartment complex that was notorious for towing my friends' cars. There's one of those signs out front that say permit parking only with all the towing info. So in my drunken state, I thought it would be a good idea to run full speed into the sign face first. I know some of you are listening to this right now going like, what is wrong with you guys? 25, ex-football player, 25, you still miss it so much. This is actually not that weird. Is that anyone agree, disagree?
A sign, though. I mean, you pretty much. It's not gonna come out of the ground, right? Like we're pretty sure about that. Like you're not.
I don't wanna
gonna-
give
you're
the
not gonna
ending
test
away.
it out.
Sturdiness of this.
Yeah, yeah, like come on.
Kyle, you've never fought a sign?
I'm not gonna say no, but I don't think so.
Okay.
I wouldn't be shocked. But I don't think so.
Sir, do you ever tell one of your friends that sign's got nothing on you?
I have not. But like when you're walking home from, it's not that ridiculous. Like I wouldn't headbutt a sign, but like you jump up or you try to tap it or something and something goes wrong. Like I can see that happening.
Yeah, the
I
old
just
tap, the old
I
doorway
wouldn't go
top
face
tapper,
first
yeah.
into it. Yeah.
Sign tap and this are totally different
Yeah.
categories. We had a bartender show up at our house once who decided to tackle our soda machine. Destroyed it.
Went
It was
right
one of
through
the
that
weirdest
plastic.
things.
Yeah.
Guys are waking up other guys being like, but he was like he was tenured as a guy in town. We had like certain guys who were just allowed to do whatever they wanted in town. And this guy was one of them. And we just kind of sat and watched him do it and destroy it because it was kind of entertaining, but we couldn't believe he kept doing it. It was great for us because he was so humiliated afterwards. He had like this massive hangover, like regret thing. And I think that one lasted for a much longer time. And so he just hooked us up like the rest of the semester. I was like, sorry about the machine. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, these
we
are
had a
on
thing
me.
We had a thing at Quinnipiac where there was like a creek on campus and
Correct.
people would get drunk and try to jump over it and like to show how athletic they were. And
That's understandable.
a lot of people ended up in the creek.
That's completely understandable.
I think jumping long distances is hard when you're drunk.
It was
I don't-
super hard.
Yeah, I don't know what happens.
It's like
happens.
40-degree rating weather, and dude's like,
Yeah.
I can do it. I can do it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Knock
It might
yourself out.
Yeah, it might be like you're gauging is off. All right, so runs into it face first. Turns out the sign was in the ground pretty good. And I ended up getting the worst of the exchange. Woke up this morning, the left side of my face is numb and my eye is almost swollen shut, as well as my arm being incredibly bruised. He sent pictures. He got jacked up. And his whole side of his face has marks on it. Forehead is in the clear. Eye is dinged up. And then there's like another gash from the right nostril or left nostril down to where the beard starts. So the beard, he got hit in his arms.
Is car accident believable here?
That's what I was gonna say. You got to make up like.
Is it that bad that you're like, we got hit?
Or
okay.
I spar on the side, or I was like saving somebody and I took a stray, like something like. You got to make something up.
So here's his dilemma. I have a feeling that meeting your coworkers for the first time looking like I went 3 rounds with coked out John Jones isn't a great look, especially with all of them that are in their 30s with children. I was definitely a personality hire for the team, but this might be too much too soon.
Oh, so you're the vibes guy. It's fine.
Well, what excuse should I give for my face? I can't cancel because it's been planned weeks in advance, and I feel like it's worse if I don't show up at all. The other problem is when you cancel and then you have leftover face bruises, because this isn't going to go away anytime soon. Then they're going to be like, oh, that's when he canceled. And then, because like, unless you don't have to see these people for 6 months, you're going to have, this guy's going to have this mark on his eye. Yeah, this is going to be lingering there for a little while. What excuse should I give for my face? I can't cancel. We've covered it. My current plan is to say I was with my friends and he got T-boned in a car. I know that seems kind of intense, but I feel like the excuse needs to be serious enough where no one will have the balls to question it. I highly doubt someone would try to call my bluff on that. Give me your best excuses. So the car accident one, it has to be somebody else's car. Because eventually at some point you're going to drive and be like, hey, this thing looks pretty good. They did a good job. Which mechanic do you use? I actually have a couple dents and and then it's just you're going to have to keep investing in this lie. If it's somebody else's car, that kind of works.
Does work.
I like
because
what you
don't
said.
want to be a fighter or something, right? Because they'd be like, oh, what do you practice? Where's your dojo?
What's a bigger lie to say that you're? Well, I like what you said, Ceruti, sparring. Because everybody likes, and the women listening to this may think it's the dumbest thing ever, but guys respect the shit out of the other tough guy. And you're already pretty big, and you played football in college. Like, I played golf with somebody the other day where I was like, oh, this guy's pretty sturdy. And then he handed me a tee, and I looked at his hand, and it was just like this massive paw of meat. And he was already big, and I could already tell, it's like Jason Bourne in the first one where he scans the entire diner. And she's like, what do you see? He's like, I can see that guy can handle himself. He's like a truck driver sitting at the counter. And I asked the guy I was golfing with, I was like, I was like, I wouldn't want to mess with that guy. And the guy was like, no, not at all. And it was like, all of a sudden, it was like just the level of respect for this dude went through the roof because every other guy was saying. So you have a chance to do that. I think Ceruti's point about the sparring is the right one. But you then may have to actually start taking classes, which could be a win.
Because you remember when Idris Elba joins the office and Jim's like, big soccer guy. And he's like, oh, which club? And then they're like, we're playing. Obviously, he's not going to be like, hey, I'm organizing a sparring after work or something like they did with that soccer game. But if this is the first time you're meeting these guys, there's a small chance that somebody else is super passionate about it. And now you're, and he might can smell it on you right away when he's like, oh, where do you fight? And you're like, what kind of martial arts do you practice? And you're like, just the regular boxing. Maybe he's just like, I think you're lying. So I don't know. You do run the risk of, depending on what kind of place of work you're at, having a real tough guy be like G-check you a little bit.
Did he say he was moving for this job, or is this same city? Because then you could just be like, yeah, I did it at the old place, and it was a sign. I got to stop. I'm not going to do it anymore. But this is the last one.
You mean admit it? Admit that you ran into a sign?
No. Like, it's a sign that you should. You're making up the sparring excuse, but you did it at your old location, and then you got here, and you're like, yeah, I can't do that anymore. I'm getting too old. Like, I don't want to be like look beat up anymore. So I'm not doing it anymore. So then you don't have to actually join a gym. But if you're in the same city, it still is kind of problematic.
But like, is it bad enough that it's like, is it a foot to the face? Like, is it actually like a sparring punch would have done that?
No, I think you could just say your head hit the floor at a weird angle, and you just.
Well, most guys would have headgear on.
That's what I'm saying.
But you could say we went no headgear.
We're bare knuckling it.
Yeah.
underground.
You're right, though.
eye
I mean,
is-
there's a problem if somebody's like, which dojo are you out of?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could just say
You
you
have
have
to
a
have an
private
answer.
coach. I think the win is that you say it's sparring and then you have to take up some sort of
Change your life, bro.
So
Yeah,
it's a win-win.
right.
Yeah.
like the biggest lie I ever told changed my life in the best way possible.
That's great.
And then nobody's going to like, it's going to, see, the lie may continue though, because they'd be like, hey, you don't want to hear about, he played football and he's a ninja.
First time I saw this guy happy hour thing. First time I saw this guy, he came in, it was all fucked up because he was fighting. And now you're fighter guy.
Because no one's going to believe you if you say you just fell down a staircase sober.
No.
Not going to believe you there. I think you have to have this, whatever the excuse is, because it has to be a lie. You can't tell them the truth. If we're all on the same page that it has to be a lie, it has to be a cool lie. It can't be a lie where they're questioning you. I don't think it's going to turn into Edward Norton here, Fight Club, where they're like, did we hire, they already know. They said that you're kind of a personality hire. They already know that you played football. You're a big dude and you're 25, so it's okay. But I would come up with something that makes you look cooler than something that is going to question you. And other than, I mean, what are you going to say? You cowboy in the weekends?
I actually had a friend who
bullfighting
who did like fall into a doorknob and hit his eye on a doorknob, and it's obviously an insane story, and people just like did not believe him.
It
But that's
just looks
why
like
he had a
mean
black
jammy,
eye,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. And so like, even if you say that, people still aren't going to believe you. And that was the truth.
Ceruti, I think
say-
you're right. I think
Yeah.
it's sparring, and then you say it was weird because the glove got, I don't know, he got jacked up in this thing. I would wear long sleeves, though. Like, just have the focus of the injury be on your eye, because if they see your eye and your face and your arm, then they're going to be like, what? I mean, you got mopped. This sign
Trampoline?
kicked your ass.
Trampoline accident? I don't know.
Signs are tough, man. You don't mess with signs.
Underrated
I would also
signs?
say when you start working and you're going to your happy hour things, just make sure you keep it in check. You say, it gets out of hand for you. But if you do some other sloppy shit, they might be like, I don't know, this guy. I'm starting to wonder about that whole side of his face that he says was this, and maybe it was that. So as a new hire, I think just make sure you keep it in check.
Can't
I
say
get it. It's fun to
skiing.
drink.
Can't say skiing. I don't think it would happen water skiing. I mean, you say rock climbing, something fell into your face, but then it's like, oh, I'd rather make up that I was taking martial arts than I would make up that I'm rock climbing. And then a
Take a
guy
stone in the
invites
face.
you. And
Somebody's
yeah,
definitely going to want to do that with you. Like, oh, dude, there's a great
Right.
mountain 10 minutes from here.
Have you been to
Saturday
crawl
mornings
wall?
is the best.
What kind of ropes? What kind of ropes you got? You're on Amazon buying a harness and ropes and like, yeah.
Stupid question, but people love pickleball. We talked about a couple of episodes ago. Is a pickleball ball heavy enough to do some
No.
damage?
Definitely not.
No,
All right,
but a
never mind.
paddle is.
You're taking
But
a paddle to the face? All right.
Right. And then you tell the guy, like, it actually starts you into the group. Like, you're not going to believe this. My pickleball guy hit me right in the head, and I got to find a new partner. Do you want to play this week? And now you're making friends.
I got to be honest, I don't love almost any of these. I think the car accident one makes the most sense. I mean, I guess it's not great for content, but God damn it, you're gonna have to learn a niche about whatever this thing is
You're right.
They
You know what?
purported.
You're right. You're right, Kyle. I kept talking about this so long. You're right, because that one, there is no follow-up lie. No one at work is going to be like, hey, how's your friend? That I don't know. They got
You don't want
T-bone.
people looking that up. They could look that information up. Too big of a risk.
Too big
No
of
one's
a-
going to look it up, but you're right. Now you're putting a lie out there that could be checked. It's not a dog. Like, a lot of you guys are going to offer up options here. You're just not seeing the picture. He got mopped by the sign. Okay, that's it. Life Advice is brought to you by Modelo, the mark of a fighter. Modelo, the official beer sponsor of the College Football Playoff.